Hi everyone, I'm Joshua Desmond, and today I will be interviewing my grandfather, Bubu Baba, and my grandmother, Bubu Kedu, on PNG's independence, their views and experiences on the topic. Hi, Kedu and
Hi,
Bubu.
Bubu Josh.
How are you guys?
Okay.
I'm just going to ask you a few questions.
We are good.
Alright, I'm just going to ask you a few questions about Papua New Guinea pre-independence and your experiences. All right. So the first question is, what do you know about
Okay.
PNG pre-independence period?
All right. I'll start off and then Bubu Kedu can add on. Well, there was a lot of things that were changing. Okay. In terms of like governance, especially from colonial rule, from British to Australia to Papua New Guinea. And so, in terms of some of the things that were happening under the British and Australian government, and then transition to our leaders to take over. So the likes of Somare, Julius Chen, whom you know, but there were a lot of leaders in that time that way. So politically, it was a like move to self-government and independence. So the main period when Mom and I, Bukedo and I come in is like 1965. When we were born, by then we were still under Australian government. Okay, but things changed. We saw your like goy-goys, your great grandparents, experience of use of monies that were British, like pounds and shillings. We saw use of like dollar and cents, Australian, and then the Kina Empire, like 1975, the change. So there was some change in political, economic, and social too as well. So in terms of financial, we didn't have like, I was just reading about the banks. We had the Reserve Bank, okay, and then that went to Central Bank, and then the Bank of Papua New Guinea, okay, currently. And we were talking about like Commonwealth Bank that became Papua New Guinea Banking Corporation, and then New South Wales Bank, which you've seen in Australia, became Westpac Bank. Okay, after some time, so there was a lot of changes that were happening. We had a lot of we say dim-dims, but like whites, jobs were taken over by Papua New Guinea. So there was a transition period that we went through. And crucial time was during that time. But I think the independence 1975 was the period where a lot of changes happened. After that, things began to take off. So maybe to answer your question directly, there were a lot of things, both economic, social, political, and in the lives of people too as well.
So the second question is, do you guys have any memories of that time? Like were you there? Bukit Baba, do you have any memories of that? Like were you there during the independence assembly? Any stories?
Hi, Joshua.
Tell us.
Yes, for me, it was 1975 when I was in grade 4, and I happened to be a member of the school's marching group during the 16th September, and it was at PRL. Then it was called PRL, Papua Rugby League Oval, which is next to now the Borco Market and that big oval there.
Yes.
Okay. And in the company of all our Papua New Guinean school students and government workers, there in the midst of us was Prince Charles, now the King of United Kingdom, but then he was the Prince of United Kingdom. Prince Charles was present. Standing on the podium and looking down beside him was Michael Somare, Julius Chen, and all the other ministers. And we marched one lap around that oval, and then we were asked to stop, turn around, and face Prince Charles where he was standing with our government officials. And then they announced that there will be the raising of the flag of Papua New Guinea, and then the Australian national flag will have to be lowered. So as these two flags, Papua New Guinean flag going up and the Australian flag lowering, we all sang our national anthem, All Arise, All You Sons of This Land. And lots of people dropped tears, people were sad. Many questions, I believe, at that point in time, no, and few answers. Papua New Guinean really didn't understand, those of us who were witness to that day, what independence really meant. But I was witness to the raising of the flag of Papua New Guinea and the lowering of the national flag of Australia. And many were sad because we were so used to being under Australian rule, and now we felt like we were going to let them go. So that was the sad part. Most of us were not really sure what independence was all about. So that's the moment I remember very well because of the presence of Prince Charles, then of the United Kingdom, and the raising of Papua New Guinean flag and the lowering of the Australian flag. That stays glued in my memory. Thank you.
Lead up to between 1973 and 1975, we used to sing a lot of songs. Okay, I'll give you like 3 songs that we used to sing before ORI's All You Sons became the national anthem. Okay, I'll sing one and I'll just start off and I'll stop. I'm not very good at singing. So. Okay, This Is the Flag was one of them. This is the flag, flag of our land. Proudly flatters us, proudly we stand. So we used to sing that every morning with assembly for to start the day off and flag raising. So we used to raise Australian and PNG flag at the same time because self-government was already declared in 1973. And Chief Minister was Michael Somare. After 1975, he became the Prime Minister. Okay, the other song, our land is the island of high mountains, of sunlit palms and coral sea, where our people sing with while the drums are beating, for our land is strong and free. Papua New Guinea. Okay, so that was the other song we used to sing. And they had a competition, okay, to choose the best song, okay. And there was even a Motuan song. I don't know the song very well, but that was the version of that that people used to sing. So they should say Papua song, and then territory of Papua New Guinea, the song that we used to sing. So couple of songs, and then eventually ORIs became the. So when we, national anthem ORIs, you know it already. Okay, and when we send that, Bubu Kedu said already, the flag was lowered, Australian flag, and then the PNG flag was raised. And my memory was that when the flag lowering was all right, but when the flag raising, the PNG flag got stuck because they folded it and pulled it up and it didn't open up. So people were thinking that, oh, that was bad omen. So the flag couldn't open up. So somebody who had to climb up and open the flag. And then he was given a packet of lollies after that, some primary schools. I remember that very well. But policemen marched, and a school had to march too as well. And we didn't have defense force, but we all marched that day. And so we were carrying flags and swinging, like we do on Independence Day now. That's my memory.
All right. So the third question I'm going to ask you guys: do you think PNG was ready for independence in 1975?
Okay, in hindsight, um, there was a lot of anxiety. There were people who said we are not ready, and there were also people who said that we are ready. So both nationally, so Prime Minister or Chief Minister at that time, late Michael Somare, said we are ready. There were people who were with him who said we are ready. There are also people who said we are not ready. And in the Australian government, both here and in Australia, there were also people who were optimistic about it. In the rural areas, people were worried. What will happen to us if Australia leaves us? We don't have doctors, we don't have pilots, we don't have people to look after us. What will happen now that they will leave us? So there was a lot of anxiety too as well. But like you had Grand Chief Michael Somare said it, before he died. Okay, he was seeing the vision of Papua New Guinean doctors, Papua New Guinean pilots, Papua New Guinean scientists. Okay, that happened because we became independent and we had people who were trained to become area specialists in their own fields too as well. Okay, so in hindsight, it is not. It was not delayed. It was timely, I think. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so
So
is that all right?
I have one more question. So how has PNG changed since independence, in your guys' view and experiences?
A lot of things have changed. I think as a child, okay, Bubu Kedu and I, 1972, we started school. We were grade 4, and 1975, like independence, and almost 50 years next year. A lot of things have changed. Okay, and not only in political. Okay, the House of Assembly became House of Parliament, so it's moved. It's a poor connect. Moved from Konedobu, okay, to Waigani, where current location is. It was a small place. Now it's a very big place, and the numbers of parliamentarians have changed a lot. In terms of the government bureaucracy, it changed a lot. The levels of government, from national, provincial, local level government, in terms of administration too as well. Laws have changed in terms of how to strengthen the legislative arm. Most of our countrymen are now leading the nation. So in every sector, business, legal, commerce, politics, in terms of economic services too, even in the rural areas in terms of people. So a lot of things have changed. In this era, in the last 50 years for PNG, technology has changed. We have never seen computer. Computer is a thing that we use now. Phones, television, okay, radio is what we used to have. Okay, now we are talking on WhatsApp. We could only call by wireless and probably send a telegram. Now we can talk to face and see you. That's technology has really changed a lot. In terms of like life in general, I would say it has changed. But even though all the challenges we have, generally for the better.
Yeah, Joshua, Bubu Doc almost summed up the question, fourth question. A lot of change, big change for Papua New Guinea in the last 50 years or so in politics, in economy and finance, in government, and society. People themselves, mindsets are changed. People's understanding have grown deep and changed, both for good and bad. And there's a lot of, say, the change among communities that there's a big group that are in that, like disadvantaged side of society. There's a minority on the advantage side because of the changes in economy and politics and everything else that's changing. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much what Bubu Doctor and I would say for Papua New Guinea 50 years going forward.
So to speak, we like both of us are now 59 going 60. So we were 10 years old when PNG got independence. We grew with the country in a way. And like coming this far, there's a lot of change we can see and we appreciate. And sometimes some of the changes, the old people like now in the parliament, Sir Julius Chen is the only man standing. But I saw him when he came to announce the self-government. He was really, if you look at his Yande's photos, he stood with Sir Henry Torobet when they launched the Kina and Toya. He looked very smart with his socks and like shorts. And like he looked really smart. You Google that and see, he looked very smart. Now he's an elderly man in terms of, but that is the kind of change that happened. And I think it's a moment to also take on, remember with pride too as well. So that's our recollection of Independence Day, Joshua, Bubu, Kedu, and I.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for you guys' time. And thank you for sharing with your view on things and experiences. Have a good night and hope to see you soon.
Thank you,
Bye.
Joshua.
Good night.